Have you been taught to always be kind, no matter what? While Islam is a religion of mercy, it doesn't mean you're supposed to be kind to everyone, especially at the cost of your dignity, peace, or faith. In fact, blindly offering kindness to those who misuse it isn't a virtue, it's dangerous. Mufti Menk beautifully explains that Islam calls for balance, kindness with wisdom, and compassion with limits. In today's world, we often confuse being good with being naive, but the Sunnah of the Prophet, Salallahu Alayhi Wasalam, teaches us something deeper. True kindness is purposeful and selective. It uplifts good and resists evil. So, if you're constantly drained, trying to please people who disrespect your boundaries or faith, this message is for you. Islam wants you to protect your heart and your deen first. Stay with us as we uncover how kindness in Islam is powerful, but never blind. 1. Islam teaches balanced kindness. Islam is a religion rooted in mercy, compassion, and fairness. One of the most beautiful aspects of Islamic teachings is the emphasis on kindness, not just as a moral value, but as a daily practice. However, Islam does not teach kindness in an unconditional or naive way. It promotes kindness that is thoughtful, intentional, and grounded in justice. Being kind doesn't mean allowing oneself to be used or manipulated. Instead, Islam calls for a balance, where kindness is shown generously, but never at the expense of one's dignity or values. Many people mistakenly believe that being kind means saying yes to everyone or tolerating unacceptable behavior for the sake of peace. But Islam sets clear guidelines. For example, kindness should not support wrongdoing, falsehood, or injustice. If someone uses your kindness to harm others, misguide you, or disrespect your boundaries, Islam allows you to withdraw that kindness in favor of justice and self-respect. The Qur'an and Sunnah both highlight that kindness is part of faith, but only when exercised with wisdom. Allah describes the believers as humble with fellow believers, but firm and dignified with those who are arrogant or oppressive. This teaches us that kindness is not a weakness, but a powerful tool that must be used responsibly. Ultimately, Islam encourages a heart that is compassionate, but also a mind that is discerning. Being kind in the right way to the right people and in the right context is a reflection of true Islamic character. It's about knowing when to forgive and when to stand firm, when to help, and when to step back. 2. Mufti Menk's perspective. Mufti Menk, a globally respected Islamic scholar, often emphasizes the importance of protecting one's dignity while practicing kindness. He reminds us that good character is a virtue, but it should never be confused with blind tolerance or allowing others to take advantage of us. According to him, being a good Muslim doesn't mean becoming a doormat for people who exploit your softness or sincerity. In his lectures, Mufti Menk explains that there are people who manipulate kind-hearted individuals, using their gentleness as a weakness. Islam does not require you to entertain such behavior. In fact, constantly pleasing toxic people at the cost of your peace, principles, or religion is not a sign of piety. It is harmful. He urges Muslims to recognize that protecting your heart and energy from such individuals is part of living with wisdom and strength. He further explains that Islam is not about always being agreeable. The Prophet Muhammad, Salallahu Alayhi Wasalam, himself was incredibly kind, yet firm when it came to upholding truth and justice. Mufti Menk echoes this prophetic balance. Show love and mercy where it is deserved, but be firm when your kindness is being abused or misunderstood as weakness. One powerful reminder from Mufti Menk is, don't let your kindness become a passport for people to walk all over you. This isn't arrogance, it's self-respect. In light of Islamic teachings, Islam encourages strength with humility, not softness without limits. If kindness begins to harm your well-being or deen, it is no longer kindness in the Islamic sense. 3. Limits of kindness in Islam. Islam promotes kindness as a core value, but it also clearly defines its boundaries. Kindness in Islam is not limitless or unconditional. It must align with justice, faith, and moral clarity. Being kind does not mean compromising your principles or ignoring harmful behavior for the sake of peace. When kindness begins to support oppression, sin, or self-destruction, it crosses into dangerous territory that Islam warns against. The Qur'an teaches believers to stand firmly for justice, even if it is against themselves or their loved ones. Surah An-Nisa 4:135. This verse alone highlights that truth and justice must always take priority, even over emotions like compassion or loyalty. If someone is oppressing others, spreading corruption, or trying to weaken your iman, Islam never asks you to remain kind to them in a way that enables their actions. Instead, it gives you the right, and sometimes the obligation, to stop engaging. The Prophet Muhammad, Salallahu Alayhi Wasalam, also drew a clear line between mercy and enabling evil. He forgave people, but he did not allow injustice to continue. In situations where individuals used deceit, insulted the religion, or broke trust, the Prophet responded with measured firmness. This shows us that kindness is not about tolerating sin or disrespect. It is about choosing what is best in the eyes of Allah, not merely what feels good or easy. In short, Islam places limits on kindness to protect your soul, your deen, and society as a whole. You are not required to be kind to someone who repeatedly harms you or distances you from Allah. True kindness is governed by taqwa, God consciousness, not guilt or social pressure. 4. Selective kindness is sunnah. One of the most powerful lessons from the life of Prophet Muhammad, Salallahu Alayhi Wasalam, is that kindness was always intentional, not blind. He, Salallahu Alayhi Wasalam, showed immense mercy and compassion to those who were sincere, oppressed, or seeking truth. But when he faced arrogance, hypocrisy, or deliberate harm to Islam, his response was firm, wise, and principled. This balance is what made his character so complete, and it's exactly what Muslims are instructed to follow. Selective kindness is not a flaw in character, it's a sunnah. The Prophet, Salallahu Alayhi Wasalam, was not equally kind in every situation. For example, he welcomed those who repented with open arms, even if they had wronged him in the past. But he also warned and distanced himself from those who continuously mocked the religion or betrayed the Muslim community. This teaches us that mercy does not mean tolerating disrespect or compromising your beliefs. In fact, showing kindness to the wrong people can sometimes cause more harm than good. It may encourage them to continue their injustice, mislead others, or even lead you away from what's right. Islam teaches that kindness must support the truth, not undermine it. Being selectively kind ensures that your compassion is meaningful and does not empower wrongdoing. Furthermore, the Prophet, Salallahu Alayhi Wasalam, taught that helping someone commit a sin, even indirectly, is a betrayal of Islamic values. So, if your kindness is helping someone continue in sin, it's your duty to pause and reassess. Kindness in Islam must uplift, correct, and reflect justice. In essence, the sunnah is not just to be kind, but to be kind with purpose, clarity, and taqwa. This is the path of balanced mercy. 5. Spiritual and emotional boundaries. Islam places great emphasis on emotional intelligence and protecting the heart. While kindness and generosity are noble traits, they must never come at the expense of your emotional and spiritual well-being. Islam recognizes that constant exposure to toxic people or draining relationships can weaken a person's faith, disturb inner peace, and distract from the path of Allah. Setting boundaries is not selfish. It's an act of self-preservation and obedience to Allah. You are responsible for your own soul, and part of that responsibility includes safeguarding it from harm. The Prophet Muhammad, Salallahu Alayhi Wasalam, would distance himself from individuals who caused fitna, discord, or consistently rejected truth with arrogance. This wasn't hatred, it was wisdom and spiritual protection. There are people who may appear kind or close, but their presence consistently pulls you away from salah, dhikr, or Islamic values. Islam does not require you to keep such individuals in your life in the name of being nice. Emotional boundaries allow you to interact with respect, without becoming entangled in harmful influence. Allah warns believers not to take allies from those who mock the religion or lead you astray. That's a clear sign. Not everyone deserves closeness, no matter how polite or charming they seem. Your relationship with Allah comes first, and anything that threatens that connection must be re-evaluated. In Islam, true kindness begins with protecting your own heart, guarding your deen, and ensuring that your emotional energy is directed where it brings benefit, not harm. Choosing peace over chaos is not unkind. It's obedience to divine wisdom. Remember, Islam teaches us to be kind, but not at the expense of truth, self-respect, or faith. Being firm, setting boundaries, and choosing who deserves your kindness is part of living with wisdom. Don't let your heart be taken for granted. If you found this reminder valuable, please like, share, and subscribe to Pious Deen for more Islamic insights. May Allah grant us wisdom in our kindness and protect our hearts from harm. Comment below, Ya Allah, guide my heart and protect my peace. Jazakum Allahu khairan for watching.